Imagine being born into a world where your own father is your greatest enemy. In the beginning, there was chaos. Then came the Titans, powerful beings who ruled the universe. Among them was Cronus, a king feared not for his strength, but for his paranoia. A prophecy haunted him. One of his children would overthrow him. So he did the unthinkable. Each time his wife gave birth, he swallowed the child whole, one by one. They disappeared, but when Zeus was born, his mother refused to let history repeat itself. She hid the child and gave Cronus a stone wrapped in cloth instead. Deceived, he swallowed it without question. Zeus grew up in secret, far from his father's reach, and when the time came, he returned, not as a child, but as a storm. Zeus forced Cronus to regurgitate his siblings. Together, they rose against the Titans in a war that would shake existence itself, the Titanomachy. For 10 years, the battle raged. Lightning split the skies. The earth trembled. Gods clashed with Titans in a war beyond imagination, and in the end, Zeus prevailed. He became the king of the gods, the ruler of Mount Olympus, the god of the sky, thunder, and justice. But power changes everything. Zeus was not just a ruler. He was unpredictable, passionate, and often unfaithful. He betrayed alliances, broke trust, fell in love with mortals and gods alike. His actions created heroes and monsters. From Hercules to countless myths, Zeus shaped the destiny of gods and humans. But his legacy was not one of purity. It was one of contradiction, a god of order, who often created chaos, a king who ruled through both wisdom and desire. And perhaps that is what made Zeus so powerful. Not perfection, but the very flaws that made him dangerously human. Death is not the end. It is a kingdom, and that kingdom belongs to Hades. While Zeus ruled the skies and Poseidon ruled the seas, Hades was given something else entirely. The underworld, a realm of shadows, silence, and eternity. Unlike his brothers, Hades was not worshipped. He was feared. Avoided. Misunderstood. But Hades was not evil. He was necessary. Every soul, no matter how powerful or humble, eventually found its way to his domain. Kings and peasants alike stood equal before him. In the underworld, there was no escape. The river Styx marked the boundary between life and death. Ferried by Charon, souls crossed into a place from which none could return, and at the gates stood Cerberus, the three-headed beast that ensured the dead stayed where they belonged. Hades ruled with order, with discipline, with cold inevitability. But even he was not immune to desire. One day, he saw Persephone, and everything changed. He took her to the underworld, making her his queen, a decision that would alter the balance of life itself. Her mother, Demeter, goddess of harvest, plunged the world into famine and grief. Crops died. The earth withered. Until a compromise was made. Persephone would spend part of the year in the underworld, and part in the world above. And so, the seasons were born. Hades remained in the shadows, rarely seen, rarely understood. Not a villain, not a hero, but the silent ruler of the inevitable end. When thunder echoes across the sky. That is not a storm. That is Thor. In the world of Norse mythology, where gods battled giants and fate was unavoidable, Thor stood as a protector, the defender of Asgard, the enemy of chaos. Armed with his mighty hammer, Mjolnir, Thor was unstoppable. Each strike could shatter mountains, each swing summon lightning. But Thor was not just power. He was pride. He was rage. He was a warrior who lived for battle. From the icy lands of Jotunheim came the giants, ancient enemies of the gods. And time again, Thor faced them, crushing them, defending the realms. But strength alone is never enough. This journey was not just about war. It was about becoming more than a weapon. learning restraint. Understanding sacrifice, because even gods face destiny. And in Norse mythology, destiny has a name, Ragnarok, the end of all things, a final battle where gods and monsters collide. Thor would face his greatest enemy, the world serpent, Jormungandr, a creature so vast it encircled the earth. Their battle would be legendary. And fatal. Thor would defeat the serpent, but not without cost. He would take 9 steps and fall, a god of thunder, brought down by fate. Not all villains look like monsters. Some smile. Look, I was not like the other gods. He did not rule. He did not protect. He did not fight for honor. He played with chaos, a shapeshifter, a trickster, a master of deception. Loki walked between worlds, sometimes ally, sometimes enemy. He helped the gods when it suited him, and betrayed them when it did. In single quotes. His mind was his greatest weapon. Where Thor used strength, Loki used manipulation, illusions, lies, tricks, and yet he was not purely evil. At times, Loki saved the gods from disaster, solved impossible problems, changed fate itself. But chaos always has a price. One of Loki's greatest acts would lead to the death of Balder, the most beloved of the gods, a moment that shattered everything. Trust was broken, and Loki was no longer welcome. He was captured, bound, punished. But chaos cannot be contained forever. Look, I would break free. And when he did, Ragnarok would begin. The end of the gods, the end of the world. And at the center of it all, Loki, not as a hero, not even as a villain. But as the force that ensured one truth, that no matter how powerful the gods may be, chaos always finds a way.